The tinkling of the postman's bell reverberates through the village lanes, announcing the arrival of a letter. The cycle halts right in front of Raghu's house. The postman discovers Yashoda sitting at the door, grinding sorghum to make porridge for dinner. She coughs and wheezes as she gets to her feet, looking up at the messenger, hoping for good news. The postman, who couldn't care less, rips open the envelope and reads out its contents to the ailing woman who is trying not to cough on his face. As he reads, tears glisten in her eyes. News that she is now the grandmother of not just one, but 2 baby girls starts to sink in. Kavita has given birth to twins. She giggles and tells the postman to wait for just one moment, as she rushes into the house and comes out with her hands loaded with jaggery. She gives the biggest portion to the postman and starts handing out small lumps to anyone who crosses her line of sight. It's only when the postman complains that he is a busy man and has other deliveries to make that Yashoda stops. She apologizes and tries as patiently as she can to listen to the rest of the letter. But just as the postman begins again, Yashoda spots Shiva in the distance. His sweaty clothes are caked with mud and it seems like he had fallen into a puddle. That he is walking with a slight limp supports her assumption. Cutting the postman off, she shouts her to husband to run up to them as fast as he can. Shiva tries to sprint but trips on the way and almost falls down again. He walks up sullenly to his wife, but his mood changes to that of elation when he hears the happy news. Husband and wife are just short of singing and dancing when the postman interrupts their little private celebration. Should I continue reading, or do you want me to come back especially for you two again? No, sorry, go on. Shiva and Yashoda are way too happy to let the postman's sarcasm bother them. The rest of the letter is just about how everything is fine at Kavita's end and how she yearns for them to come and visit her. She misses everybody in the village and everything about it. Above all, she misses them both, and even Raghu and his misdeeds. When the postman is done, he places the letter in the happy mother's outstretched palm, nibbles on his jaggery, and bids them a relieved farewell. Come on now. We need to pack. Get moving. We will be leaving tomorrow itself, Shiva tells his wife, who happily obliges. They throw their bare necessities into the only cloth bag they own and force the zip shut. Raghu, you will be staying back with Dadi. She cannot be left alone. What? No. Why? Let me come too. I really want to go. Yashoda, tell him. Shiva sighs. She rests her hand on Raghu's shoulder. Dadi is too old to travel, son. Please understand. Sorry, we will take you some other time, okay? Okay, he agrees grudgingly. The family gulps down the porridge so they can sleep early that night and catch up on the rest they know they will need to brave the journey next day. As soon as the crickets announce the arrival of the night, Shiva forces himself, Yashoda and Raghu into bed. However, Yashoda is so overwhelmed with happiness that she can't sleep. She smiles in the darkness as euphoria wells up in her chest. She risks violating Shiva's command and speaks to her equally awake husband. Listen, she whispers. He immediately turns to face her. She can tell that he had been waiting for her to break the silence, not wanting to go against his own word. We are grandparents. Shiva gives out a laugh. It's a deep, genuine laugh, the kind that's hard to restrain. It's the most blissful laugh she has heard from him in years. I still can't believe it. It only seems like yesterday that Kavita was bawling in the midwife's arms, and now she has wailers of her own. Right then, at that moment, Yashoda feels like she needs nothing more from life, like all she had ever wished for has somehow transformed into reality. Her daughter, happily married, has beautiful baby girls now and prosperous days ahead of her. Raghu is her life. Her husband is in high spirits, which means he will not turn grouchy and dictatorial anytime soon. Agreed, they don't have much money, but they have learned over the years to manage with what they have. Her relations with the villagers are healthy enough to be called friendship. And as for Yashoda herself, she is as happy as can be. Out of breath, Yashoda reaches out for Shiva's shoulder with one hand and massages her aching back with the other. At long last, the aging couple have finally reached the sari shop. Yashoda has heard that they sell the best saris in the entire town. They push open the glass door and step inside, refreshed by the cool air from the fan. "One glass of water?" Yashoda asks, slumping down on a stool. She cuffs into her handkerchief and then fans herself with it. "Show us your best designs." "That is, the best you can manage within 100. "Well, there isn't much choice in that range, but I can assure you that you won't go back disappointed," says the plump-faced salesman pleasantly. "I really hope so," Yashoda heaves. She is determined to find what she is looking for in this very shop, having run out of patience and stamina. The next thing she will lose in his stifling heat, she thinks, is her mind. A few agonizing indecisions later, Yashoda decides to raise the budget. "Okay, fine. Since you have decided not to show me anything worthy my while, I will be giving and allow you rupees 50 more. So rupees 150 is the deal now. And that's my last offer. You show me something good or else we walk." "You wouldn't want that, would you?" she says. Although both Yashoda and Shiva know well that she means none of what she said. There is no way they are going to face the sun again without first getting what they came here for. However, Yashoda finally ends up buying an irresistible maroon sari at 175 rupees after haggling with the salesman to bring it down from 200. The idea of her daughter draped in the soft, rich cloth is far too tempting to forego. Satisfied, she follows her husband's lead as he steps out and hisses as the full fury of the sun hits them again. Their next destination is the garment store, where they are to buy clothes for their newborn granddaughters. Yashoda stops midway, exhausted. First the hour-long bus ride, then the walk to the sari shop, and now this. She wonders if she will be able to reach her daughter's home alive. Come, you can do this. It's right across the road," Shiva encourages. "I know, but She pants. "It seems much." She squeezes her eyes shut for a moment, then croaks much farther. They are greeted at the door with the sound of wind chimes. Everything that Yashoda lays her eyes on, she wants to buy. Yashoda strikes up an easy conversation with the saleswoman at the shop and manages to buy a couple of pretty little frocks at a discount. They now set off for their daughter's home. It takes the restless, worn-out couple all their inner strength and willpower to hike up to the house, which is just a few lanes ahead, opposite the Sarpanch's concrete house. Even though it is only a matter of 5-4 minutes, they can't seem to be able to stay on their feet anymore. They knock on the door, out of breath but expectant, anticipating a cheery welcome. They wait and wait, but nobody seems to be at home. There is silence inside. Where have all of them gone? They knock again. Kavita's mother-in-law opens the door, all the while cursing her aching old back. "Oh yes, Kavita told us to expect you," she says dryly. Yashoda isn't sure, but she senses disappointment in the woman's tone. She leaves the door open, goes back to lie down on a mattress, and promptly closes her eyes. "Can we come in? Is something the matter?" inquires Shiva, looking between the woman and his wife. "Cats and dogs don't seem to need permission to enter this house. Are you special?" snaps the sleepy grouch. "The things I have to put up with," she mutters. A wide-eyed Yashoda looks at the offended Shiva and steps into the house, her gait now uncertain. Shiva follows her in. "So, where's Kavita? Where are the babies?" The babies. They are a pity, really, the 3 of them. They are in the room inside. Kavita is with them, as usual, not doing any gainful work. What a waste. Shiva's temper threatens to flare up, but Yashoda pats his shoulder. She looks at his resentful face, warning him not to do anything they will regret. He nods and for once in his life follows his wife's directions. Their breath falters when they step inside the room. The newborns are napping in a makeshift hammock made from an old sari hanging from the ceiling, and Kavita is asleep on a cot beside them. They lean over to look at their infants, their rosy cheeks, those cherry lips, the tiny fingers and toes, the rhythmic rise and fall of their chests, the tranquil closed eyes. Above all is the knowledge that the sleeping beauties before them are theirs. The babies make the couple forget the disrespect from moments ago as their hearts melt into the puddle of emotion. Yashoda walks over to her daughter and strokes her forehead. Kavita wakes up with a jolt. "Ma?" She beams. "Oh, thank God you are here. Baba?" she says in a loud whisper, not daring to disturb the peaceful quiet in the room. How have you been, Kavita?" Yashoda stammers. Shiva is still transfixed by the babies. "I'm fine, Ma. I'm sorry I couldn't receive you at the door. These two keep me up all night. Anyway, you both sit. I will make you some tea." No. We are not here to eat and drink, Kavita. I don't want to miss out on time with you and the girls." Kavita laughs. "Yes, Ma, I understand. But I know how much you must be craving a cup of tea now. Here, come with me to the kitchen. We will talk there. Baba can wait here." She looks at her father and smiles, who is now brushing the baby's cheeks with his fingertips. "Yes, I think he can manage that," giggles Yashoda. And she continues with a sideward grin. "Isn't there anyone else you want us to meet, except for that old hag?" "Ma," Kavita looks taken aback. Minded, she pretends to scold her mother in the typical sweet tone that Yashoda misses so much back home. "He has gone out for work. He will be back around 7. Till then, my time is all yours," Kavita adds. Yashoda follows her daughter to the dimly lit kitchen. The cool floor soothes her tired souls. The walls have been painted a deep aqua shade. "So tell me now, Kavita. How have you been really?" "Oh, Ma, you and your worries. I told you already. I'm fine." Yashoda frowns. "Yes? Never mind, it's nothing. I will not rest until you answer me. You know, you can't tell me anything." "It's nothing. Forget it." Kavita busies herself making tea as Yashoda looks on. But finally, Kavita relents. Well, she hesitates. "Sometimes, okay, maybe a little more than sometimes. He comes home a little drunk. But it's no big deal, Ma. It's normal. Everyone does it." "And you are telling me not to worry?" Yashoda gets a little worked up. "Promise me, the second you think you smell any sort of trouble, you will immediately write to me. Am I clear?" "Yes, you are." Kavita clasps her mother's hands. "Now let's not ruin your visit here with a problem that I'm not even sure is one." Yashoda exhales. "You are right. I'm here to enjoy every single moment, and I am going to make sure I do that." "That's the way, Ma. How's your cough?" "The same." She sighs. "Right now, I'm assuming you want your tea with ginger, like always." "Yes. And lots of sugar?" 2 spoonfuls. "And do you still want Baba to have bland, tasteless tea?" Yashoda cracks into a smile. "It's for his own good." Dinner is laid out in the common area. Everybody sits on bed sheets spread out on the floor, chewing their food quietly and minding their own business. Kavita goes back and forth from the kitchen to the babies to the dinners, serving chapati to one, water to another. If it is quiet for too long, she offers more potatoes and dal, especially to Roshan, whose plate is already full. "So, Roshan," starts Shiva. Roshan looks up. "I understand you had to sell 2 of your buffaloes. How did that come about?" Roshan continues munching his potatoes without offering any answer. Looks are exchanged. Yashoda takes over. "We were just wondering why you had to do that. Are things getting difficult?" Roshan is quiet for a while, as if thinking about whether to answer, then mutters something incomprehensible between chewing his food and gulping down water. trying not to spit out the contents of his mouth. Yashoda and Shiva look at Kavita for an explanation, but all they get is a little chortle and a shrug. Says Shiva, nodding his head and trying to sound polite. Kavita breaks out in an embarrassed laughter this time. Roshan now looks full. He leans back against the wall with a hand on his stomach and looks up at the ceiling. Taking deep breaths, he hauls himself off the ground in an indication that his meal is over. Arey, Roshan beta, what about your rice? Yashoda looks at his plate, which is still loaded with food. What about it? He heads off to wash his hands. Okay then, Yashoda can bear stuffing food up till her throat, but wastage is something she cannot tolerate. Giving up all efforts to try and make conversation, she spends the rest of the evening contemplating how she hadn't realized what cranks she had given her daughter to. Goodbye, Ma, Kavita says, bending down to touch her mother's feet. Roshan bends too but doesn't seem to be able to reach farther down than her knees. It's a bittersweet adieu, not to mention a teary one. Goodbye, Baba, Kavita sniffles. Look after yourself and the little ones. He rests his hand on her head in blessing. I will. She smiles. Where's your mother, Roshan? I wanted to meet her before leaving. Yashoda looks around, although she knows exactly where the old hag is. Oh, she couldn't sleep very well last night, so she said she felt like sleeping in. I see, says Yashoda, trying her best to look sympathetic, and turns towards Kavita, who looks down at her feet sheepishly. Sorry, she says, frowning. Don't fret, her sleep is way more important. Everybody's is. She looks at Roshan, who nods gravely. Well, anyway, you all come visit us whenever you can, okay? Yashoda cups Kavita's face into her hands. Yes, Ma, we will come at the earliest. We must be off now, Shiva waves as they start their walk to the nearest bus stop. A dim-wit, she still believes there is scope for happiness for her daughter, with the children lighting up the place with their frolic. There is a knock on the door. Yashoda gets up, broom in hand, and goes to receive the untimely visitor. Oh, it's you! Yashoda's face lights up as the broom drops to the ground. Oh no, it's you! The postman gets off his bicycle and pulls it into the shade. He takes his cap off, squats down and unfolds the letter now in his hands. Ah, this will take time, he sighs. I can't have you sitting outside now. Come in, have some poha. Oh, thank you. Who would have known you could be nice? The old man sits down inside under the straw ceiling. The postman hungrily gobbles down the poha Yashoda offers him, chilies and all. When he is done and has had 3 glasses of water, he lets out a loud burp. Yashoda laughs. Now I know for sure you liked it. Do you mind? She points to the letter which he had thrown aside in his haste to eat. You actually want me to read it? Explains the postman, pretending to be surprised. She makes a face. Okay. And don't interrupt. Hurry up, start now. As the postman reads what Kavita has written, Yashoda sits unmoving, gazing up at the straw ceiling without any sign of either sorrow or happiness. Once he has done, he sets the paper down on the floor and thanks her again for her hospitality. He gets up, heading towards the door. When he looks back, he sees her sitting in the exact same way she had throughout the time he had read the letter. I'm sorry for what's happening, he says. I hope things get better. He leaves, but Yashoda does not even acknowledge that. She just sits on the floor, thinking about how to help her daughter escape her shackled life. She picks up the letter, folds it, then unfolds it. She considers throwing it away, wanting to believe that none of it is true. Helpless, drained, she picks herself up and makes her way to be the one person she knows will have an answer, no matter what. She knocks on Anjani's open door. As the lady of the house emerges from the kitchen, wiping her hands on her sari, she smiles at Yashoda, but immediately senses something is not right when it is not reciprocated as usual. What happened? Nothing good. I'm listening. It's Kavita. What's wrong? I got a letter. The babies... She cries through strained breaths. She says she hadn't wanted children so soon into her marriage, but that there was peer pressure. But now they are blaming her for not having a son. They say all she is doing is burdening them. The children, my girl, she is going through so much all by herself. Anjani gulps. It will be fine. It will be fine. Shh. Will it? I have seen her grow into a mature young woman, and so have you. She is strong. She will manage. You know that better than me. But that's not all. Hear me out. They have had to sell all their cattle. Why? Because that rogue husband of hers never feels like going to work. Anjani looks on with furrowed brows. She takes care of everyone, all alone, Anjani. But who takes care of her? No one. She gags, scoffing, then speaks. She never complains. But what does she get in return? Bruises? The man beats her up. My little girl. Anjani finds herself staring at the ground, wide-eyed. I understand your worry, Yashoda, but believe me, things will sort themselves out. I'm sure of that. Yashoda keeps her head on Anjani's shoulder. No, you are not. How could you possibly be? Shh, it's okay. Kavita is a strong girl. She will take care of everything. Stop saying that, Yashoda snaps. It doesn't happen that way, Anjani. You know it doesn't. All that fellow can ever hope to be is a walking piece of ill-mannered, good-for-nothing meat. Look, Yashoda, if you are thinking that Kavita should leave or divorce her husband, know that it will just make things tougher than they already are. You know that her life will become hell. But what other choice does she have? The helpless mother argues, although deep down she knows Anjani is right. Kavita is on her own in this. Anjani pats Yashoda's arm. Shh, have faith. It will be okay. It won't be. Calm down. Keep faith. Shh, calm down.